Hello student, myself Nimesh Prabhakar. Welcome to Antenna and Propagation lecture series. In my last lecture, I complete chapter number 5. In that lecture, we discuss about the loop antenna. Now in this lecture, we start new chapter, chapter number 6, the helical antenna. So in this lecture, we discuss about the introduction of helical antenna. Then we discuss about the helical antenna structure and helical geometry. Then we discuss about the normal and perpendicular mode of radiation. Then we discuss about the axial or end fire mode of radiation of helical antenna. And last we discuss about the application of helical antenna. Now we start the introduction of the helical antenna. The concept of helical antenna was first introduced by the John D. Crush, that means J.D. Crush, in the 1947. It is a three-dimensional structure of which a linear and loop antenna are special cases. It is basically a simple broadband VHF and UHF antenna which provide circular polarization. It consists of thick copper wire wound in the form of screw thread forming a helix. Helical radiate in a many mode. There are the many mode of the radiation. The mode of special interest are the normal mode and axial mode. So in this figure, we can see there is a three mode of the radiation. First one is indicate the normal mode of radiation. Then the B figure indicate the axial mode of radiation. And the last one is the indicate the conical mode of radiation. But here we discuss about the only two mode of propagation radiation, like normal mode and the axial mode. Now we discuss about the helical antenna structure and helical geometry. So here this is the figure of the helical antenna. It consists of a thick copper wire wound in the form of the screw thread forming a helix as shown in the figure. So here we can see this is one wire is wound like in the screw shape. There are the different form of the ground plan, such as a flat ground plane and the cylindrical cavity. The helical antenna can operate in a many mode, but two important modes are, first one is the normal mode, and this mode is just like a broadside mode. In the radiation pattern, in the normal mode is like a broadside, and the second one is the axial mode, and its radiation pattern is just like an end fire array. Consider the helical antenna as shown in the figure. It basically consists of the helix of a thick copper wire or tubing wood wound should shape of a screw thread and used with a flat metal plate called a ground plane. The helix can be described by using the following symbols. So we can describe the helical antenna by using this symbol, like N is indicate the number of turns. Then D is indicate the diameter of helix. C indicate the circumference of helix. S indicate the spacing between two turns. A is indicate the axial length. Then lambda, we know that the lambda is the length of one turn. And alpha is the pitch angle. And the last D, small d, is indicate the diameter of the conductor. So these are the symbols are used to represent the helical antenna, or we can say the helix geometry. Now the mode of radiation of the antenna depend on the diameter of the helix D, spacing between the turn S and the circumference of the helix C. So the radiation mode of the helix depends on these three quantity, like the diameter of the helix D, spacing between the turns S, and the circumference of the helix C. The number of turns are denoted by N. Then the axial length we can write as A is equals to N into S, where the L is indicate the length of one complete turn, and this indicate the spacing, that means the S is indicate the spacing of the helix from the ground plane. If we unroll one turn of the helix on a plane surface, then the circumference, spacing between the turn S, turn length N, and the pitch angle alpha can be related to each other through the triangle trigonometry as shown in this figure. Then we can write the L is equals to under root S square plus C square. So by using the Pythagoras law, we can write from this figure the L is equals to under root S square plus C square. But we know that the C, that means the circumference, we can write is equals to pi into D. The pitch angle is defined as the angle between the line tangential to the helix wire and the plane normal to the axis of the helix, and it is denoted as a tan alpha is equals to S by C, and we know that the C is nothing but the pi into D. So we can write the alpha is equals to, that means the pitch angle is equals to tan inverse S upon pi D. Now we discuss about the first one mode of the radiation is nothing but the normal mode of radiation, or it is also known as the perpendicular mode of radiation. In this mode, the radiation is maximum in the Broadway direction or perpendicular to the axis of helix. Hence, this mode is called normal or perpendicular mode of radiation. The radiation in the direction of normal to the helix axis is circularly polarized wave. The mode of radiation can be obtained if the helix dimensions are made very small as compared with the radiation. That means we can say n dot s is very less than the lambda. When alpha is equals to 0, helix correspond to the loop. When alpha is equals to 90 degree, helix correspond to linear loop. For the helix fixed diameter with the S tending to 0, the helix turn out to be a loop, while the helix with the fixed X and the D tending to 0 turn out to be a short dipole as shown in the figure. The resultant field is dependent on the ratio of the field strength or the amplitude of the two components. Consider a helix in a spherical coordinate system as shown in this figure. The far field of the small loop is given by E phi is equals to J 120 pi square I sin theta upon R into A by lambda square. Here this I is indicate the retarded current and small r is indicate the distance at a point. Then A is indicate the area of the loop, and we can also denote in the form of the pi d square by 4. Lambda is the wavelength. The far field of the short dipole is given by E theta is equals to J 60 pi I sin theta upon R S by lambda. Here we can also write the S is equals to D into L, that means the length of the dipole. to get the axial ratio, we should take the ratio of the magnitude of the field due to short dipole to that due to the loop. So we can write the AR is equals to, that means axial ratio is equals to ratio of the E theta upon E phi, and we have the equation of the E theta and E phi. So we put here. So when we solve this, we can write the AR is equals to S lambda upon 2 pi A. But we know that A is nothing but a pi d square by 4. So we can write this equation as AR is equal to S lambda upon 2 pi d square by 4. So when we solve this equation, we can write the AR, that means axial ratio, is equals to 4 S lambda to pi square into d square. And we can also write this equation as the AR is equal to 2 S lambda pi square into d square. Now, depending on the value of AR, we get three conditions. First one condition is when AR is equals to 0, the elliptical polarization becomes linear horizontal polarization. Now, second one condition, when AR is equals to infinite, that means axial ratio is infinite, the elliptical polarization becomes linear vertical polarization. And last one condition, when AR is equals to 1, the elliptical polarization becomes circular polarization. Thus, the condition for the circular polarization is our third number condition. So we can write the AR is equals to 1. So we have the equation for the AR, 2s lambda pi square into d square. So we can write, and from this we get the value of the S is equals to pi square d square upon 2 lambda. And we know that the pi into d is nothing but the c. So we can write the S is equals to c square upon 2 lambda. Hence the pitch angle for the circular polarization is given by alpha is equals to tan inverse S upon pi d. And we have the value of the S. So now we put the value of the S in this equation. So tan inverse pi square d square upon 2 lambda into pi d. So when we solve this equation, we can write the alpha is equals to tan inverse pi d upon 2 pi. And pi into d is nothing but the c. So we can write that alpha is equals to tan inverse c upon 2 lambda, where c is indicate the circumference. Thus, the resultant radiation pattern for the helical antenna, the normal mode, can be obtained by superposing the field pattern of the loop and the dipole for the circular polarization as shown in this figure. So this is the radiation pattern for the normal, or we can say perpendicular mode. Now we discuss about the second one mode. This is the heliaxial or the end fire mode of radiation. The helical antenna radiate field maximum in the end fire direction is called the axial mode or the end fire mode helical antenna. With the axial mode radiation, the polarization of wave is either circular or nearly circular. The two parameters of the helical antenna which decide the mode of radiation are spacing between the turn, that means S, and the diameter of the helix, D. This mode is possible if the circumference is select of the order of the one wavelength and the spacing is select approximately equal to. For the axial mode, the pitch angle varies from 12 degree to 18 degree. The optimum pitch angle is 14 degree. The term impedance is given by R is equals to 140 C by lambda. The beamwidth between the half power point is given as HPBW is equals to 52 by C under root lambda cube into n dot s. Similarly, we can write for the first null beamwidth as FNBW is equals to 115 upon C under root lambda cube upon n dot s. The maximum directive gain is written as, that means the directivity we can write as a GD is equals to 15 NSC square upon lambda cube. And the axial ratio we can write as the AR is equals to 1 plus 1 upon 2N. The radiation pattern for the axial mode is shown in this figure. This is the radiation pattern for the axial mode. Now we discuss about the application for this antenna. Helical antenna are used to achieve circular polarized wave over a extremely wide bandwidth. Then it is also used in a space communication. Then it is also used in the transmitting or receiving VHF signal through the ionosphere. Then the helical antenna is used in the satellite communication and space probe communication. Now we calculate one example. Calculate the directivity of 20-ton helix with the alpha. Here we have, it is given the alpha is equal to 12 degree and the circumference is equal to 1 wavelength. So we have to calculate the directivity, and for the equation for this is the directive gain GD is equal to 15 NSC square upon lambda square. And here we have the N, the turns of the helix is the 20, and the circumference is given as the lambda. And the spacing between the turns S is indicated, and we have the tan alpha is equals to S by C. So we can calculate the value of the S from this equation. S equals to C tan alpha. So lambda, we have the value for the C is equal to lambda, and tan alpha value is at 12 degree. So we get the 0.2125 lambda. And when we put the value of the S, C and lambda in this equation, so we get the directivity is equal to 63.75. Now we calculate the second one example. Calculate the half power beamwidth, axial ratio, gain and power pattern for a 16-ton helical beam antenna with the circumference of lambda and the spacing between the turn to be the 0.25 lambda. So here the N is given, number of turns is equal to 16, circumference is equal to 1 wavelength, this is nothing but the lambda, and the spacing is given the 0.25 lambda. So we have the equation for the SPBW, that means half power beamwidth is equals to 52 by C under root lambda cube into upon N dot S. Now we can also write this equation as lambda square upon N into S upon lambda. So when we put the value for this S and lambda and N, so we get the SPBW is the 26.85 degree. Now we calculate the axial ratio. So we can calculate by using this equation. AR is equals to 1 plus 1 upon 2N. So we have the value N is equals to 16. So we get the AR is equals to 1.03125. And the directivity we can calculate by using this equation. The GD is equal to 50 NSC square upon lambda cube. So when we put the value of the N, S and C, so we get the directivity is equals to 60. So in this lecture, we discuss about the introduction of the helical antenna. Then we discuss about the helical antenna structure and helical geometry. Then we discuss about the normal and perpendicular mode of radiation of the helical antenna. Then we discuss about the axial or the end fire mode of the radiation. Then we discuss the application, and last we discuss the example. Thank you.